Okay, so why am I showing you my Wilwood 6-piston front caliper? Because I want you to take note of the color, all right? That is the color that the frame and the diff and all the suspension parts, and this is the torque arm for the torque arm suspension. This is the this goes across the top of the motor like a subframe connector, I guess you'd call it. That is for the rear sway bar and the panhard bar. Here's the door bars, suspension pieces. Those are all gonna be powder coated bright red. And I have it here at Derek Sandblasting. This is where they do their outdoor sandblasting, and then it goes to powder coat. I think it's gonna look really amazing. All right, everybody, I'm back here at Derek Sandblasting. This is where I actually bought the Camaro originally. It was in one of their storage units. It's been there since 2000 or 2001. And if you look at the very first video in the Camaro playlist, maybe I'll link to it at the end of the video. You can see the container where I first saw the car and where we dragged it out of. Well, now we have the frame back here, and they've sandblasted it, they've powder coated it. We're gonna go take a look at it right away. And eventually, when it's ready for paint, it's coming back here for paint, because the Derek Sandblasting also does paint. So let's go look at what we have for powder. I haven't seen it yet, but let's go look at it. Well, here it is. I wish it was in the bright sunshine right now so you could see how bright it is, but that's the frame, and here's all the door bars, suspension pieces. This is awesome. Can't wait to start assembling this. And a sneak peek of what the door bar is going to look like. Yeah, I think that's going to look pretty spectacular when the whole rest of the cage is all matched. Yep, pretty happy with that. So my painter tells me that the order I should be doing things in is prep the inside of the car, get it all ready, and they're going to take the car to the painter. I'm going to take the car to the painter on the rotisserie, and he's going to paint the roll bar the same color as these door bars. And the rest of the car is gonna get painted white on the inside. I'm not like your typical YouTuber where I'm gonna, surprise, big surprise color. No, it's gonna be white. So, yeah, it's all gonna be white on the inside with a red roll bar and a red frame. And then once I have that, I'll get it back from paint. The whole inside will be painted. Then I put it on the frame and on the suspension, all that stuff, bolt all that stuff on. Then we do the body work on the outside and then paint on the outside. So I need to get the inside of the car ready for paint. So let me show you what I got going on here. I have to finish weld the tunnel modification for the T56. So I'm going to weld that all up, and I'm going to use the silicon bronze to weld that all up because it melts at a lower temperature and it'll seal that all up really nicely. It should make for some really nice welds there. And the doors need to come off. Those will not be on the car when he paints the interior. And so I have these, as you know, I have these doors all lined up really nice here. So to mark I'm sure most of you know this already, but to mark the location of the hinges, I took a 1/8 drill bit and just ran it through. So now when I take the doors off, when I go to put them back on, I can put them all on in the exact same location, you know, line up perfectly. And then I know my fenders and everything is all going to line up. So that is what I am up to today. And if things go really smoothly, I may even get this car back on the rotisserie today. Okay, so I brought the Camaro out in the daylight for the first time in a year. And what I'm doing today is I need to clean off some of this. I put Pour 15 on some spots, and I need to get rid of it because it turns out the stuff's not so great for adhesion to smooth metal. And like this kind of metal here, I never roughed it up. I just put it on there just to keep it from rusting after I'd done my metal work. So I need to get rid of that. Same in the interior. I need to get rid of some of that on the interior. And I could take it to a commercial sandblaster, but what I found was this little device. This goes on the end of a pressure washer, and it has a hose that goes into a bucket of sand or whatever, and water and sand come out at the same time, and it'll blast all this stuff clean. So I've not used it yet. I did a little sample piece of painted metal, and it was really good, so I figured, oh, it'll work on the whole thing. So my plan is to blast off all that black Por 15 stuff inside and outside, and then hit it with epoxy primer. I got some really good epoxy primer. I can't believe how expensive that stuff is. And we're gonna get that, and then the car gets sent off for the interior to be painted, like actual painted. So that'll be next week. But right now I need to get rid of some of this stuff and get the car ready. Well, my initial assessment is that it works really good. It hurts a little to get sand pelted in your face as you're chewing it, but you got to make sure you don't do anything direct on. Anyways, let me give you more of a close-up here. All right, so that was all covered in Por 15, and yeah, I took that right off. So that's really good. Yeah, so I got lots more to do, but looks like it's gonna work. And then I gotta dry this thing off thoroughly and give her a shot of epoxy primer. Mistakes were made. Actually, this pressure washer slash sandblaster thing works really good, but I made some mistakes. Actually, I made some mistakes back when I used Por 15 on those areas to try to keep them from rusting until I got around to doing the, proper epoxy paint and all that stuff. Yeah, so I ran out of sand. Well, actually the sand I was using was a little too fine, so I went to get some coarser sand, and I landed up doing some errands, and it was a couple hours before I came back. And yeah, I came back to, well, let me show you. Already have rust. Yep, so this is a problem. Look, that whole parcel shelf, rust. I just can't believe it. So I'm going to still recommend the sand slash pressure washer. I'm still going to recommend it, but only for stuff that you can dry immediately and hit it with some kind of a coating before it rusts. So what I'm going to have to do now is take the car back to where it came from, Derek Sandblasting, and get them to sandblast this and then roll it into their spray booth and hit it with the epoxy primer. That's what I'm going to have to do, because by the time I get around to doing everything on here, where I started already is going to be rusty. So I just can't see how I can fix that. It's very upsetting because now I have to load it into the trailer, and I gotta, well, anyways, the whole thing. But anyways, I am sharing my mistakes as well as my victories with you. And well, the Por 15 was a mistake, and trying to get it all off with this device also a mistake. But I'm going to try to correct it, do it right, and I'll take this thing to sandblasting.